Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your alternative to any men's aficionado podcast. This is Lost in the Midcard, episode 19. I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on Twitter at JBHuskers. As always, we are hosted on spiderduck.net, which enables us to be on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or on YouTube, and both of those links are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/lostinthemidcard. And as always, my co-host for this evening is on Twitter at RawFShowtime, Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good, man. We survived the first ever Wednesday Night War, and here we are, no worse for wear, I would say.
Yeah, hopefully there is a Wednesday Night War to speak of down the road. We as we're talking about Ring of Honor and TNA Impact Wrestling on the same night, on the same channel, back to back.
And you can't forget that also Lucha Underground and NXT. Mm-hmm. You have 4 wrestling programs on a Wednesday night. It was 1 year ago. I was complaining that Wednesday night was the only night on television that didn't have any pro wrestling. Now there's too much pro wrestling on Wednesday nights. It's now like they listened to me, and now they've ruined it. They've oversaturated Wednesday nights. We need one of these shows to move to Tuesday nights. It's what we need to do now, because there used to be Main Event on Tuesday nights on the network, and now that's not there anymore. So they need to take one of these. They need to take one of these 4 shows and move them to Tuesday, so we can have wrestling every night of the week.
Yep. Or make SmackDown live, because I'm always a proponent of live wrestling rather than taped wrestling, especially when Vince McMahon does the George Lucas treatment to anything that's taped.
Pow.
See anything in the WWE network.
Pow.
Bada bing. Speaking of Powell. Speaking of Vince was in attendance for this, fresh off of Monday Night Raw. We get the return of the Stone Cold podcast. Oh, hell yeah. Paul Heyman is his guest. We have not heard from Paul Heyman in quite some time, mainly because Brock Lesnar has been kayfabe suspended after his actions the night after WrestleMania. And we expect Brock Lesnar to be coming back very soon here. Possibly by the end of the month. But basically the Stone Cold podcast was entertaining. A lot of stuff that if you've heard Paul Heyman on any kind of podcast, Jericho's or Austin or has he been on JR's? Matt, do you remember? I don't know if he's been on JR's.
I don't think he has.
But he's been on Austin's many times, and he's also been on Jericho's as well.
I don't think Jim Ross has the clearance. Like, I don't think he's got WWE approval to bring on WWE contracted talent. Which is kind of a real dick move by WWE. But I'm pretty certain that that Ross doesn't have the rights to bring on currently contracted talent. So when you hear WWE guys on there, it's legends like he had Bret Hart this week, and he's had Shawn Michaels and Austin and people like that. Like, he doesn't get people that are on their television product.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of freaking lame,
So
get over your butt hurt and JR in this, Vince, and do business the right way.
Yeah, I mean, no kidding. JR's got one of the best podcasts out there. There's no doubt that it would be great to hear Jim Ross talk with a lot of current talent. I listen to his show every week, and I just never thought about it that he doesn't have any currently contracted talent on there. And he gives his mind about the current state of the business weekly too, which is great.
Yeah, I think as far as podcasts go, the ones that are done by the actual wrestling talent, if you only have time to listen to 2 every week, it should be Jim Ross and it should be Taz.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those guys consistently deliver the best wrestling podcasts every single week, and they are definitely worth going out of your way to listen to if you don't listen to them already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Taz, is fairly new to the podcast world, and he came out swinging, and he just gets better and better. It's great. Recently did an interview with Ring of Honor's Jay Lethal, so that's a good one to take out. And also they're affiliated with Play.it, which is also CBS affiliated. So it sounds like eventually, now that he's no longer with Impact Wrestling, he might actually go back to his once-a-day live shows. Maybe, I don't know, for a run here and there, or if it's permanent. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm hoping they bring Taz Live back. That happened the week I was down and out and really, really sick. So that was the Taz Live every day was very welcome to listen to while I was laying in bed dying. So, yeah, I definitely want Taz Live to come back sooner rather than later. So hopefully they get that worked out.
Coming back to the Stone Cold podcast, a lot of stuff that we've heard before, but obviously not everybody listens to Stone Cold's podcast and whatnot. And so for those that do not, they get themselves a great treat. There's so many stories that Paul Heyman has. An hour and 15 minutes does not do this episode justice. They could go easily 2 hours.
And I really wish they would.
Oh, I know.
And honestly, I find Austin's podcast on the network 10 times more entertaining than I find his podcasts on his own channel. And I don't even know why. I think he just kind of tends to ramble sometimes on his own podcast. So while I can find that to be entertaining, I kind of like it when it's concentrated on the subject matter.
Well, there's a lot of times on Austin's podcasts where, Austin is such a busy man. He'll have a run of just telling his own stories and stuff that's going on in his life. So that's where he can maybe ramble because he doesn't really have a direction. Where obviously in the WWE Network podcast, he has a set direction, and that's where it comes through a little more crisper, I would say. But in terms of Paul Heyman, we get himself a little Dusty Rhodes imitation, a great spot on imitation of Dusty. He talks about
I'm just telling you something, baby. In the American dream on the mothership, if you will.
The son of a plumber. He talks about the first $50 he made from Vince McMahon Sr., which was just a great story. Obviously, there's an infamous picture, what they call the Andre shot, which for those who may not know, the Andre shot is where the cameraman gets real low and shoots straight up to make the tall guys look even taller. Paul Heyman was trying to sneak in the picture because he's only 14 at the time. He weasels his way to get a press pass. And the stories of him just getting in the door of the WWE were phenomenal. Just his drive and ambition of how he got there. So he sneaks in a picture. He has it down low so it doesn't look like he's obviously taking a picture, and he takes this perfect picture of Andre the Giant talking to Vince McMahon Sr., where Vince McMahon Sr. is kind of looking up at Andre as big as he is. And the very next week, this was at Madison Square Garden, Paul Heyman took a framed 8x10 of that picture and went to present it to Vince Sr. He kind of waited for his moment, and once he was alone, kind of snuck in and delivered it. But he kind of got cock blocked by a security guard. But eventually, the picture got to Vince Sr. and Vince Sr. loved it so much that he paid Paul Heyman a $50 bill. But the interesting thing about paying him that $50 bill, he would never actually put it in the hand of Paul Heyman. He would always have a guy like Howard Finkel kind of sneak it in, kind of like they were doing a drug deal or something. It was kind of funny. Those stories are just so classic, and that's just Paul Heyman when he was 14 years old, just trying to be a photographer in the business. So, what was your favorite kind of story that Paul Heyman told in that podcast, Matt?
Oh, I mean, I've heard the stories about him getting into the business before because a lot of it's covered on his DVD. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, which is fabulous. If you guys haven't seen that, go out of your way to pick that up and watch it. But easily my favorite story is the one I never heard before. Was the one with him and the Samoan SWAT team.
Yeah,
in the car.
Oh my God!
The Road Wars with the Steiner brothers and Stain. That was without a doubt my favorite story because my jaw was just dropped and I'm just laughing hysterically because I'm like, I can't believe this happened, but you know that it did,
and you can't believe nobody died.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, that was my favorite story because it was so just out of nowhere, and I did not see that story coming, and I thought that was phenomenal. And
man!
And of course, you had the final 5 minutes of the podcast, which set the entire internet on fire.
Oh, we'll get to that in just a minute, but yeah, back to that Samoan SWAT team story. Holy shit! Yeah, it basically 2 cars going down the interstate at 80 miles an hour, and they're throwing food from one car to another. They're throwing a fucking watermelon from one car to hit the other on the road, and holy shit! There was a part of that story where Scott Steiner was in the front seat, and his brother Rick he would lock his arm under his brother Rick's leg. Rick would go out the car window while they're both going 70, open up the other car's door and put his hand on the driver to scare the shit out of him. It's amazing nobody died in those things, man.
No, it's amazing that people didn't die, and that's what makes it funny. You know, because if something would have honestly happened, that would not have been that wouldn't have been good at all. But the fact that nobody was worse for wear from it makes the whole thing absolutely hysterical.
They talk about Brock Lesnar's feelings on the WWE and UFC, just going back to the time when he re-signed with the WWE, and it sounded like that Brock Lesnar was definitely ready to go back to MMA, but and even began to train for it. But in the end, his main love is pro wrestling. Even though he is very healthy, the diverticulitis is definitely a big reason why he decided to go back to the WWE. And I'm assuming Vince probably paid him a little more than Dana White would have, don't you think?
Well, I'm hearing both sides offered him quite a bit of money. But here's the thing.
I'm sure the Brinks trucks were backing up to his farm in Minnesota. That was for damn sure.
I mean, here's the thing. At his age, he almost has everything to lose and nothing to gain by going back to the UFC.
Yeah, if he gets his ass handed to him
exactly. Because if he goes back to the UFC at his age, healthy, in his first match hit, he gets his ass pummeled, then what? You know,
his draw in the WWE would be that much less.
Yeah, everything about him would be diminished in the eyes
especially
of
after
MMA fans and wrestling fans alike. So honestly, the way that he was portrayed in his latest run with the WWE, and why he was obviously having fun, and they booked him properly, and he's made a ton of money for the company in the few years that he has been back. Honestly, it was a no-brainer to stay where he was. I definitely think he made the right choice by staying with WWE because he doesn't have to worry about somebody kicking his ass.
And there's so much more for him to do. Hopefully a healthy Daniel Bryan. Obviously the near future is going to be Seth Rollins.
People are already talking about him and Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
and I mean
exactly.
you can't count out Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe.
No,
because you can talk about Owens and Lesnar till the cows come home. Honestly, I would much rather see Lesnar square off with Samoa Joe than Kevin Owens.
Another thing they talked about was Heyman's eye for talent back in his ECW days, but even before that, WCW, and just they talked about the very moment that Austin and Heyman met, and
I will say on record, for as good as Paul Heyman's Dusty Rhodes impression is. His Jim Ross impression is that much terrible. His Jim Ross impression is awful. But he did a good. He does a spot on.
He does a fairly good Steve, though.
He does. He does. Honestly, most of his impressions were very good, but his Jim Ross impression is awful.
It must have been so bad that I don't even recollect it.
Yeah,
I don't even remember him doing JR.
Yeah, he was talking to JR and he was imitating JR what JR was saying about Austin. He's a young stud. He's gonna be a big player. And I'm just like, God, that is an awful JR.
The moment that they met, Heyman was immediately impressed by the charisma and just like the drive in his eyes and everything. So immediately Heyman pushed for Austin to join his Dangerous Alliance group, and basically the guy that basically they had to sell this on was Rick Rude, and it sounded like Rick Rude was on board. And speaking of Rick Rude, there's another good story. We've heard these on the podcast before, but there's the if you haven't watched it yet, go back to the network and look for the God damn it story in the car ride with Rick Rude, yeah. Paul Heyman, and Steve Austin. For as much debauchery that Rick Rude got into in his days, in his life, it was kind of funny that Austin saying "God damn it," Austin saying "God damn it" would pull the car over and make him damn near explode. That was a good. My favorite part is the end of that story where Heyman says Austin plays the baby face there because I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again. God damn it. Oh man. And they do talk about CM Punk, obviously, that I think was without question something that needed to be brought up on this podcast. Paul Heyman states that he does talk or text with Punk daily. They are really good friends, very close friends, and they have been for a long time, which is a big reason why when Punk wanted to walk out the first time, they put him with Heyman, and then you see his big long title run. He thinks that he's been wanting to do MMA. It was something he's been wanting to do his whole life, and so he thinks that he's going to come out, win or lose. He's going to come out and have the drive to try to succeed in the MMA. He realizes he may walk out as a loser the first time, and there'll be a lot of scrutiny behind it. But he accepts that, and that's obviously that's the key thing. If you want to get into the ring, you got to accept what's going to happen. So
yeah.
They talk about the art of the promo, which one of the key questions comes from. I'm drawing. Oh, Dusty. Paul Heyman had to cut a promo to end the show on an NWA WCW event, and he cut this great promo for about 4 minutes, and he's walking to the back, thinking he just cut the promo of a lifetime, and Dusty goes, "Where's the money?" And that was the moment where Paul Heyman realized how to cut a promo, because when you cut a promo, you gotta sell something. And not ramble on for 4 or 5 minutes like we do on this podcast. You got to sell something, and if anybody wants us to sell something, we'll definitely sell something for a nice little fee, right, Matt?
Yeah, why not?
We'll sell New Day socks for crying out. Yes, they exist, by the way.
Honestly,
one for each.
New Day needs freaking merch, man.
And then we get to the end of the podcast. The potential matchup between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar. And we don't know if this was a work or a shoot, but Austin got pretty fired up there at the end of the promo, didn't he, Matt?
Yeah, he definitely went into promo mode. And, you have to believe it was all worked. But damn, Austin's really good at making you believe.
Oh, he set the internet on fire.
I think that's pretty freaking awesome because there's so few people in the business that can do that anymore. But Austin, is really good at just sucking you in and making you believe what he's saying. And it was an electric last couple minutes to that podcast. You were just left going like, damn, it really looked like Heyman pissed him off.
There was like in the middle of that, there was kind of a silence, and Austin goes, "What?" And then Heyman goes, "What?" That was pretty good. God, I mean, isn't Austin like basically he's like shouldn't even be doing a stunner? Isn't that with his neck injury? Isn't that kind of the case?
If I were to go to Vegas right now and there would be odds on Austin wrestling his final match in WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, I'd be putting all my money on him wrestling a match. And not necessarily am I putting it down on Austin wrestling Brock Lesnar, but I would definitely bet that Stone Cold Steve Austin is stepping into the ring at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas to face somebody.
Well, that's going to put 100,000 butts in the seats for damn sure if Austin returns to the ring after a damn near 15-year. No, actually, he walked out about 03 due to injury, wasn't it? So about 12 years away. So you think that he is healthy enough to actually perform a match then, huh? Or it's safe enough for him to do a match?
I definitely think it's safe. He's not going to be cleared to compete if it wasn't safe for him to do it. And they're not going to tease even a little bit on WWE official programming of this happening if he's not at least interested in doing it. WWE has a lot of plans for Stone Cold over the next 12 months going forward, between the network and between other projects, if you might have read. I can't even remember what site it was right now that broke the news from Jerry Lawler that Stone Cold Steve Austin was the featured superstar for WWE 2K16's showcase mode. So there's plenty of WWE Stone Cold interlocking promotion going on over the course of the next year. And if it doesn't end with Austin stepping into the ring in Dallas, I will be supremely surprised.
Now you have some good ties with the guys at 2K. I would love to see in the showcase mode some WCW stuff too, man. The Hollywood Blondes, a little something with them. Something with Stunning Steve Austin. Even something with the Ringmaster.
Oh God, the Ringmaster.
That, as Austin says,
you might see it all.
As Austin says, that suck ass gimmick.
Suck ass gimmick indeed. Yeah, I would not be the slightest bit surprised if this is a much deeper, in depth Stone Cold story than people are expecting.
That would be epic.
So I would definitely expect people to stay tuned for more news that breaks on that over the course of the next couple months.
All right. Our other news story for this week comes from the world of Impact Wrestling and Global Force Wrestling. Tyrus, which is known as Brodus Clay in the WWE days, he was originally advertised by Global Force Wrestling as a roster member for some shows, but it turns out that Tyrus is not going to be allowed to do these according to Tyrus on Twitter. TNA Wrestling is not allowing him to do these shows, and he sent out a tweet saying, "Due to contractual obligations, I will not be working for GFW's upcoming shows. Hashtag card subject to change. Sorry for any inconvenience. Hashtag nuff said." And then Karen Jarrett took to Twitter and took a little shot at Dixie Carter after that news broke and said that it sounds like someone's throwing a temper tantrum in Nashville. you can't control the world, darling. Matt, what do you think about these two companies starting to butt heads?
Here's the problem. The TNA stance on Tyrus working these events is these guys have TV. These guys are a TV company, so we're not allowing them to use our talent on their shows. First off, these guys have not locked a TV deal. If they have, we're not privy to the information.
No.
So maybe TNA knows something that we don't. But as far as we know, Global Force Wrestling currently doesn't have a TV deal. And Global Force, if you're listening and you're looking for a night for television, may I recommend Tuesday nights?
do Wednesday.
I recommend staying as far away from Wednesday as possible.
Unless you're replacing Impact Wrestling. Then that would be
exactly. Unless you're replacing Impact in September on Destination America, I would suggest Tuesday nights. But I digress. I definitely feel that TNA is playing a total hypocrite card right now. That they're able to sit here and prevent Tyrus from making a paycheck when they can't provide him with house show bookings this year because they're hardly even on the road themselves. So Tyrus was not scheduled for a TV because Global Force has TV tapings lined up to tape for television for future television programming or whatever. But all of his bookings were only scheduled house shows. He's actually was going to face Moose from Ring of Honor. And Moose has the exact same deal with Ring of Honor. He's allowed to go work the GFW house shows, but he cannot appear on the GFW TV tapings. So if ROH is okay with it, it really makes TNA look really whiny and petty that they're not going to let one of their guys, who isn't even a main eventer, and he's barely a mid-carder. He's more, you may even be able to call him more of a manager than anything in TNA right now, that they're not going to let him go work these matches and make a paycheck and be so immature and childish about this entire situation. It's honestly super disgusting.
Yeah, and you got shit like this, and then you got Josh Matthews attacking people on Twitter. He was still doing it.
I unfollowed him ages ago. I unfollowed him when he did that pot shot on JR a couple months back. I unfollowed him after that. He oh God, I can't. JR mentioned it was a night that UFC was running, the same night NFL ran, and JR kind of called. He thought that UFC ran a really successful evening, followed by the NFL, and called it a win for the UFC or whatever. And Josh Matthews came out and was like, he said something to the effect of, if you consider the UFC a win over NFL programming, your opinion is invalid. Go away, old man, or something to that effect. And he got blasted on Twitter over that, and Taz got on him about it. And I honestly think that's a lot of the reason why him and Josh Matthews and Taz don't get along anymore. Probably has something to do with that. I know they don't like each other. I know that for a fact. But who freaking knows what's going on?
He's sure burning a lot of bridges. That's for damn sure.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He'll sure as hell never be walking back in the WWE. I know that much.
No. So shit. Does it just seem like to you that TNA's in a tailspin now?
It certainly seems that way.
I mean, they were on fire, got all that press with Billy Corgan, and then it just freaking nosedived from there.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'll continue to watch TNA every week, and I'll continue to support the company with my viewership. But until they give me some kind of faith that this product's going to be around long term on United States national television programming, I have no reason to really deeply invest in the product like I would a WWE or Ring of Honor or an NXT. So TNA has a lot to prove to me this summer. That by this time next year, they're still going to be on my television screen. So the ball's in their court right now. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, they have a lot of changes they need to make, and I certainly wouldn't mind for them to make some changes to the commentary team.
No, exactly.
Honestly, I would much rather watch Impact without Josh Matthews in commentary than with. So
bring back the originals, Mike Tenay and Don West.
I'd be okay with that, dude. I love Don West. I thought Don West was phenomenal for someone who never commentated a wrestling product before.
No, there were just times where I thought he would have a heart attack on the air.
And that's part of what was freaking awesome about him.
Oh, man. It was over the top sometimes, but hey, that wasn't too bad. I am curious to see if you can dig up this maybe for the next episode next week here, just to see the numbers between ROH at 8-7 Central.
Oh, you mean the ratings?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have the ratings by next week. I'll have the ratings by probably either tonight or early Friday morning. I'll have the ratings for what they did.
And I'm sure that's going to be
what both programs in their replays do, because their replays are essentially the West Coast airing of the show on the West Coast time.
Yeah.
So you just combine them together and you get the real number.
And I'm sure that it's going to be a hot issue for all the wrestling websites tomorrow too. So I'm sure it'll probably be right in front of our faces after all the numbers are released.
Yeah, so honestly, I think we'll make a game out of it. We'll cover the Wednesday Night War rating bridge every single week here on the show.
Now we tape or we record around 8 Central, 9 Eastern. So with Impact Wrestling moving to Wednesdays now and the uncertainty of Impact Wrestling, we're going to kind of keep from covering it on a weekly basis, but we will kind of look into the future to see what to do if indeed they are going to stick around. We will kind of maybe do a little recap.
If title change happens, if a pay-per-view occurs, if something big is happening with the TNA product, we're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But for breaking down the Impact product every single week, match by match, we're just, due to the time that we're recording now, due to the time that Impact's airing, we would literally be giving you the results of the show a week late, and you would have already watched this week's Impact on a Wednesday night, and then Thursday you'd be listening to us talk about Impact the week before. We just think that's a lose-lose on both sides for us and for you guys, and we're not going to do that. But trust us, if something big is happening in TNA, or a title changes hands, or pay-per-view results, we're going to cover it. We're not ignoring or putting TNA on the back burner or anything. It's just it's a timing issue with our recording time that it's just going to prevent us from in-depthly covering their weekly television program every single show. That's all.
Switching to Monday Night Raw from this week, live in San Antonio, Texas. We open Raw with something fresh and something new, The Authority. And it seems like I've said that 3 straight weeks now, huh?
Oh, I mean, it's standard WWE. I mean, are you really surprised?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So we get our typical Authority blabber, and they call Dean Ambrose out to hand the title back over to Seth Rollins after he took it, after he justifiably should have took it because he won. Anyways,
right.
He stole the title at Elimination Chamber, and instead of Ambrose coming out, it was Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns kind of said some things to get under Seth Rollins' skin, which got Seth Rollins really fired up and got a really great promo out of Seth Rollins there in the opening. In the heat of battle, he agreed to a ladder match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Dean Ambrose at Money in the Bank. Add that to the mix of one of the better pay-per-views of the year. I think we're gonna have ourselves a good show here, Matt.
Oh, absolutely. If you would have told me 6 months ago that WWE was going to run 3 back-to-back pay-per-views between 2-week intervals and we were going to get great shows every time, I'd have been like, what crack are you smoking? But obviously they are doing a phenomenal job right now of delivering and firing on all cylinders and making things work. And I have no issue with it at all. And honestly, if anything, it's forcing them to put important stories and stuff on TV within a 2-week thing, because they don't have time to build anything. They have to put the pedal to the metal and make the thing work when they only have 2 weeks to build something. So maybe 2 weeks is the WWE creative formula to making things work.
Yeah,
maybe if they have more than 2 weeks, they don't know what the hell they're supposed to do.
Yeah, their long-term booking has been so shitty. I mean, outside of WrestleMania feuds, they have no long-term booking whatsoever, and it's terrible. So yeah, this formula. You're talking about freedom.
Me, you son of a bitch.
Fuck you, Vince.
Fuck you. Fucking.
So some great.
I know what you want better than you do.
It depends. But boom. And that was an adult diaper joke right there, folks.
No, he didn't.
Actually, Triple H trying to calm Rollins down, and it was to no avail. So the match is a go at Money in the Bank, and once Rollins stormed out of the ring, it was time to punish Roman Reigns. So they said that he was gonna put his Money in the Bank qualifying spot on the line, and they were gonna go to the back and find somebody to take him on. And Vince, speaking about booking, you're trying to scare us into thinking Roman Reigns is going to lose his spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and so you bring out a guy that got pinned by R-Truth the night before. Okay. And actually the match went a lot longer than I thought it would. It went damn near 15 minutes, but predictably Roman Reigns wins against King Barrett, and once again the proverbial burial of the king is happening. Is it Matt? It's about time we get a face turn and get the return of Bad News Barrett.
Man, I have no speech for what's going on with Barrett right now because
is he in the doghouse?
I don't know, dude. If you talk about the stop-start push, I don't think anybody's been the better example of the stop-start push in the last 5 years than Barrett's been since the Nexus till now.
Are they so worried about him getting hurt once they put their full faith behind him? Because obviously they have put in their full faith behind him twice, and it's been stopped by injury.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man, but honestly, I don't get it. I don't
either. But I mean, this ain't anything new with the King of the Ring winner, though.
No,
either.
It's not. But I just, man,
Sheamus was booked terribly after he won King of the Ring. So I think it's time, to quote the late great Owen Hart, it's time for a change. Let's make him he was over as Bad News Barrett. The crowd loved it. And typical WWE style, they got rid of it and went with this stupid TMZ ripoff that completely flopped, and they got rid of after a couple of weeks, and then he won King of the Ring. So I don't know. I think it's time for a face turn on Barrett. Get rid of the King shit, because obviously all that does is make you a loser.
But I mean, just because he turns face doesn't mean they're going to give him a push.
No, that's true.
So I mean,
but the crowd has been behind him in the Bad News Barrett era. So
I honestly don't know what to think. I really don't. I would assume he has some kind of heat on him. And that's the only thing I can figure. I will tell you, speaking of heat, I've been reading the JTG book this week. Damn, why did I write this book? And I'm telling you what, guys, if you haven't read it yet, it's only like $1.99 online. Some of the stories that he tells of the heat and the politics backstage at WWE will blow your mind. You'll just be you'll be laughing at some point, you'll be shaking your head the next. So definitely go out of your way to check out JTG's Damn Why Did I Write This Book. And I think you'll be blown away by some of the road stories that he talks about throughout that thing. It's a hell of a good read.
The name of the book should have been Damn, How Am I Still on the Main Roster?
But he's not.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he was on there for so long and never used.
But the day he got released, he put out a tweet on Twitter and said, "Damn, why did I answer my phone?"
Yeah, exactly.
So now it's "Damn, why did I write this book?" So, the dude, he's awesome. I don't want to give any of the stories away because honestly, I think he deserves your money. you know, your measly $1.99, you should go out there and support JTG. But I will say, it seems like a majority of the heat this poor kid got on the roster, you can thank Shad for. That's all I'm gonna. That's all I'm gonna say. You're gonna have to go read the book. But yeah,
money.
Yeah.
Backstage, Roman Reigns runs into the Authority, and they say, don't hit the showers just yet. You got another match, and if you lose your Money in the Bank spot too. And that's going to be none other than Mark Henry a little later on. Nikki Bella
tried to
try
out for America's Got Talent by giving out his karaoke skills.
Yep, trying to sing Mark Henry's theme song. Nikki Bella interviewed by Byron Saxton. And Paige interrupts the promo, and we then the aftermath of that is we're going to have Nikki versus Paige, 1-on-1 for the Divas Championship later on in the night. Ryback enters the ring for a match, the new Intercontinental Champion. He cuts a great promo, stating that last October when he returned, the San Antonio fans gave him a standing ovation when he came back as a babyface. He reminded him of who he is, and now he's the new Intercontinental Champion. A great kind of heartfelt promo by Romo to start off. He set to face Miz in action, but before the match could even start, Matt Black's favorite wrestler of all time, The Big Show, comes down to the ring. And there's a big sigh that we were waiting for. Big Show gets in the face of the big guy and then knocks the fuck out of Miz. Miz drops from a KO punch. Big Show cuts a promo on Ryback, so there you go. That's our next Intercontinental title feud, it looks like. Word is, though, that the Miz may be involved, and we may have a three-way dance for that.
Why?
Are you just saying why because it's the Big Show, or?
Look, dude, it was just at WrestleMania. They were talking about how they were going to make the Intercontinental Championship important again. And now we've got Ryback as champion, which I approve of, because I think he deserves it. But he's going to feud for the Intercontinental Championship with Big Show and The Miz? Really? How does that establish importance to the freaking Intercontinental Championship?
Really?
Stop it!
Really?
Oh, it makes my head hurt.
Really?
Somehow this is your fault.
My fault.
It's your fault.
It ain't my fault.
It's totally your fault.
How is it my fault?
You're a big old jerkface, JB.
How's it my fault? How is this my fault?
Somehow it's your fault.
Damn it!
It's your fault, damn it, you son of a bitch.
We get an epic promo between Kevin Owens and John Cena. Owens starts out the promo talking about how basically just saying everything he said, he's backed up. Then he mentions his kid, who he says, like most kids, is a John Cena fan. And when they talked after he beat Cena at Elimination Chamber, all his son could ask was if Cena was okay. Anyways, that was pretty good. And then he also uses the term Super Cena, so that was pretty cool. He goes, that's where he's talking about where he was featured on TV every week. He became Super Cena, and he goes, last night I beat Super Cena. And the Cena catchphrases are being uttered by a broken, shattered man. And he says he's going to expose John Cena at their rematch at Money in the Bank. And he says he hopes that all kids are watching this just to see who the real role model is going to be. God, what'd you think of that little promo from Kevin Owens, Matt?
Dude, Kevin Owens is amazing on the microphone. And unless you're some jabroni on Twitter by the name of Sean that thinks he can't cut a promo to save his life, then I don't know what to tell you. Because there are a few people on the microphone right now that are more believable than Kevin Owens. And if you think he is terrible at cutting a promo, then you just need to reassess what you think a good promo is.
Yeah, fully agree. Kevin Owens is killing it in the promo department. And, this feud with John Cena is the hottest thing going today. Kind of funny how the hottest thing going today has involved John Cena lately with the U.S. Open Challenge and now with Kevin Owens. And honestly, the WWE Universe is, it's still you got your guys that are chanting, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. They're just doing it to have fun now because Cena's getting on more and more cheers because, he's going up against an asshole. That kind of helps. And then Cena comes out with an interesting line where they were talking about the marketing, the WWE marketing machine, and Cena said if it was the marketing machine that brainwashed Kevin Owens' son, then he'd be wearing an Adam Rose shirt. He would love the Funkasaurus and grow up wanting to be in the XFL. Oh man,
totally one a completely unneeded jab on Adam Rose. Since he's still on the roster, I just want to point that out. I thought
I didn't know how to take that.
He assessed two things that have been away from the company for a long time, and completely jabbed on somebody that is still there. And I just honestly, I thought that was completely unnecessary.
So you took that as a jab?
I definitely did. Especially reading some of the stuff about John Cena and JTG's book, I definitely took that as a jab. John Cena is not the cookie-cutter good guy that you all wish to believe that he is.
Oh, yeah.
John Cena is a dick. And you can read all about it in JTG's book.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be a lot of John Cena stories and a lot of books as wrestlers retire and such. Then we get the New Day in the ring cutting a promo, talking about just how great they are, and then of course trashing the local hero Tim Duncan from the San Antonio Spurs. They also push Kofi Kingston as being Mr. Money in the Bank, as he is going to represent the New Day in the match. And then they said once he becomes Money in the Bank winner, they all become the Money in the Bank winner because New Day sucks. New
Day rocks.
Day sucks. New
Day rocks.
Day sucks.
New Day rocks.
We get Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston in a real short match. They should have shaved off half of the Roman Reigns King Barrett match and gave it to Ziggler and Kingston, I think. But Dolph Ziggler gets the win off a roll up there, and basically just kind of a short match to put two guys that are going to compete in that ladder match over. But after that short match, New Day attacks Dolph Ziggler, 3-on-1 attack, and the primetime players come out for the save, and then your Teddy Long special, holla, 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 we got ourselves a new tag match right off the bat.
I'm pretty sure Teddy Long came out during the commercial break to make said tag match.
There were probably 10,000 Teddy Long mentions on Twitter when this happened.
Holla, holla, holla.
6-man tag match that also went for only about 5 more minutes with the good guys winning there. After the match, the PTP and Dolph Ziggler doing the millions of dollar dance there in the middle of the ring. Next up is Roman Reigns and Mark Henry. Once again, if Reigns loses, then he loses his spot at Money in the Bank. And could you imagine Mark Henry climbing a ladder for the Money in the Bank contract there? But this match didn't last too long. It ended up in the outside where both men were down, and Roman Reigns gets into the ring real quick and counts Mark Henry out for the loss. So Roman Reigns still is holding on to his spot at Money in the Bank. Post-match, Mark Henry, I guess he's a bad guy now. Between him and the Bellas.
He was a good guy on the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
just like the Bellas are good guys at the Elimination Chamber, and they're teasing that they're heel again. I have to go on the record, and I have to state this because it annoys me so greatly. Vince McMahon doesn't know how to book women.
That's fact.
It is. I even stated on Twitter after the match was over. I'm like, you can't blame Paige, you can't blame Nikki, This falls solely on WWE Creative and their inability to book women. And let's face it, at the end of the day, Creative starts and ends with Vince McMahon on the main roster. And you see how women are booked in NXT. And you know that it can be done right. And it's obviously proven that Vince just doesn't know how to book female talent. He can't do it. He's terrible. And I wish everybody that's begging for Charlotte and Sasha and them to come up to the main roster, pump your brakes.
Yeah,
because you were the same people a year ago begging for Paige to come up. And look what all great things she's done the time she's been on the main roster. For the love of God, just let those poor girls stay down in NXT for as long as they humanly can until Vince is no longer booking creatively this company, or Triple H can actually pull some strings and get to book the women up on the main roster. Because right now it's not working at all. So just I don't want it. I went from wanting to see them on the main roster to absolutely in no way wanting to see any of them come up, because I don't want to see their careers ruined, because I feel that's exactly what Vince is going to do to them.
But on the bright side, you do want to root for them to be on the main roster because they're going to get a lot more money.
I don't think that's so much the case anymore.
Yeah,
with NXT becoming a third touring brand, all those people are going to start making more money.
Now, not now, but
no. I think in the next 6 months, a lot of the main upper echelon talent in NXT are going to be making as much money as they would as a lower to mid card talent up on the main roster.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that all plays out. I don't know what. I mean, the only remedy is just to have Vince just step away from it completely, but he won't. But back to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is attacked post-match by Mark Henry. As we said, he turned heel all of a sudden and gave him the world's strongest slam. Then as come back from commercial, Reigns backstage again runs into Hunter and Stephanie. Why does he just take another route so he doesn't come across those two? He's got a third match, and it's going to be against Bray Wyatt in the.
If he just went back up the stairs.
Yeah, go back, get a hot
dog. Going up the ramp, he probably wouldn't have to worry about it.
Get a hot dog, hang out until about 10:15 Central Time.
Buy about 15 of his T-shirts. Toss to the fans. I don't know.
But at least we get a fresher main event on Raw with Reigns and Wyatt. We get ourselves a fake Sonic commercial.
Those were freaking hilarious. I don't care what anybody says. They were funny.
With the Mega Powers, Big Show, and New Day shilling for Sonic. Yeah, that was pretty good. But hey, why don't we just do these instead of commercials in the middle of a fucking match? You know?
Honestly, it was the funniest freaking Big Show's been in ages.
We get Divas title match time, and I called this perfectly on Twitter that they're gonna fuck it up, and yeah, they sure did. We get about 5 minutes of action, and then we get Twin Magic. Twin Magic does not work anymore when you got someone with fake boobs and a bigger body. I don't know. It definitely looked like Brie was wearing some kind. She was either padded, or she had a push-up bra on, or she got implants. Because going back and looking on the DVR, her chest was definitely larger than it has been in ever. So I don't really know what the deal was. Being the type of person that Brie is, I highly doubt she got implants. Probably a push-up or padded or something. Definitely the top she was wearing definitely, made it look like her chest was almost as big as her sister's. But at the same time, Nikki is a lot thicker than Brie is. Well, they weren't even wearing identical gear either. I thought they were. If you go back and you watch the Raw reaction thing that they do on WWE.com, they had an interview with both of them backstage after the match, and they don't even have the same. The gear that they have on isn't even matching gear. I mean, it's the same color scheme and stuff, and it's probably something that Nikki has worn,
but it wasn't the exact same attire top that she was wearing that night. It's completely different.
That just goes to play into your rant that you just had about the Divas.
Yeah, I know. It upsets me, sir. I don't even know how else to say it other than it upsets me. The way that Vince books that division just drives me up the damn wall.
Yeah, and drives a lot of people up the wall. But you thought it would get more steam with the Give Divas a chance, and now we're just back to the same old shit. We got 2 more competitors from the Money in the Bank ladder match fighting off Randy Orton and Sheamus. Randy Orton wins by disqualification as Sheamus used a steel chair. This was a fairly lengthy match in terms of how Raw matches go, but it just didn't seem to kick into that gear that typically a 15-minute match should. But I don't know. There are 2 good workers there. They just didn't have it there today.
I really wasn't paying attention to that match.
Yeah.
So, it's just
Crutch,
not a combo that interests me at all.
Rusev in crutches is interviewed by Byron Saxton. Yeah, and Rusev he kind of shows another side of him as saying he has no championship, no career, no woman. He's just a broken man. Broken ankle, broken spirit. He's the one that is crushed, and kind of shows you that Rusev could be a face, if a sympathetic baby face, if they wrote him the right way. I mean, I think Rusev is clearly the natural heel, but he could have a baby face run in him, and I think it would maybe go over. I don't know. It may go over like a lead balloon, like Alberto Del Rio's, but I think he has the talent to at least give it a try. Don't you think, Pat?
It couldn't hurt to try it down the road.
Yeah, I'm not saying right away.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you can do it right now. But I mean,
obviously
the stage is certainly set that they can attempt to do it down the road if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. And especially if they pair him back with Lana, and with Lana being as over as she is, a babyface run down the line could be good. But he kind of snaps back into Rusev mode by the end of the interview and storms off. Unfortunately, he is going to be on the shelf. Did you hear a timetable at all, Matt? Is it about 2 to 4 months or something?
I haven't heard a timetable for Rusev at all.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with him yet. Hopefully he's not out too long, but I really don't know.
Now this is going to be interesting. We get this promo. Tell me what you think about this. Kevin Owens is going to do an NXT Open Challenge on SmackDown tonight. Is this a Cena mocking thing, or creative being stupid and forgetting what they wrote for him a month ago?
It's him He's mocking Cena.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Who is going to answer?
I already know who's going to answer. So I'm going to
tell you. That's right. Tuesday. Yeah. I don't watch spoilers, so.
I
will surprise myself.
I was going to say, do you want to be spoiled on who answers the challenge?
Nah.
Okay, then I'm not going to tell you.
Neville and Bo Dallas, it seems like their little quick feud is a quick feud, as Neville basically just squashes Bo Dallas after a few minutes. Basically, that rivalry's done as Neville looks ahead to the Money in the Bank ladder match. Main event time: Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, and obviously we get the interference by the Authority, but to me this was a fresh matchup. I've seen people complain it was too much Roman Reigns, but remember back to SmackDown when him and Daniel Bryan tagged for 45 minutes straight. I thought it was good, and I thought Reigns did good here, and I wasn't sick of him. Were you, Matt?
No, I wasn't sick of him at all. They're making him earn his way in the eyes of the fans. And
yeah, a lot of people thought this was him shoving. I've seen people say this was him, WWE shoving Reigns back down our throats, and I'm like, no, I thought this was perfect. In the end, he does defeat Bray Wyatt. I thought Bray Wyatt was going to win this, and then Reigns somehow gets back in, but that did not happen. And so maybe my prediction of Bray Wyatt winning Money in the Bank may not happen if he's not in the match, but we'll have to see if he's entered there as possibly 2 to 4 more superstars will be added to that Money in the Bank ladder match. As of Raw this week, we did not have anybody that was additionally added on to the event. Do you have any? Were there any announced on SmackDown, or are we gonna have to wait till Raw for the final roster, Matt?
One person is added to the Money in the Bank on SmackDown.
Was it a qualifying match, or they just announced it?
It was just an announcement.
Okay. Yeah, we won't give the spoiler away there, so
you
tune in there.
Tune in tonight and watch it. Honestly, I'll be watching Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The SmackDown tapings did not read like a must-watch show, and I've been waiting for the NBA Finals for the past week, so that's what I'm watching.
Yeah, well, I usually watch SmackDown on Hulu on Fridays.
That's a good call. I'll probably check it out on Hulu later on the weekend or something, or via DVR or whatever. But
I just wish they didn't condense Raw. I wish they would show all of Raw like they do all of SmackDown. That just does not make any sense to me. But I digress. I'm not the one making the big bucks here. We shift to NXT tonight, and tonight's main event is going to be Finn Balor taking on Rhino, and they also give a recap of John Cena and Kevin Owens from the Elimination Chamber. We start out with Adam Rose as they try to kind of resurrect him, as he's been showing up on NXT lately. He faces off against Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze winning via the beauty shot, as to no surprise, as Adam Rose gets buried on NXT even. Nice little we want Kruger, no we don't chant going on here. Who would you rather have, Leo Kruger or Adam Rose, Matt?
I was never a big Leo Kruger fan, but at the same token, I would say whichever one results in this man getting a push, I'm all for, giving another chance to. So,
how about Ray LaPon? Just regular, real Ray,
I'd be okay with that. I'm beyond sick of his gimmick with Rosa, where we're supposed to forget about the brilliant ESPN special about his wife and his kids at home.
Ridiculous.
They
could have capitalized on that.
They
could have capitalized on that.
Honestly, the fact that they're not capitalizing on it, it shows how borderline ridiculous this is.
Mm-hmm. Solomon Crowe says that he's a defeated man, but he will be back in the ring with the NXT champion. So I wonder if a push is in line for Crowe, with Owens definitely going to be on the main roster from here on out, and then obviously while he transitions out of NXT. So I wonder if a big push is in line for Solomon Crowe. They show highlights of Dana Brooke, her fitness competitions. That chick is just a specimen. We'll just leave it at that. If you know what I mean. Eva Marie comes out, and the crowd shits on her.
Fuck that crowd, dude.
They chant.
Fuck the Full Sail crowd.
They chant, "You can't wrestle." Apparently, she's going to compete in NXT, and maybe she'll shut them up then. Cause
I honestly hope she does, because that crowd are such marks for themselves. I'm so sick of the Full Sail crowd. They think they go out of their way to act like they're the stars of the show, mm-hmm. when they're not. And I would really just, I would be happier if eventually NXT is able to record on the road, because the less they have to record in front of that crowd, I think the better it would be.
Yeah, sometimes they get too smart for their own good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It gets really annoying at times.
William Regal announces something that's pretty fucking cool for the NXT Championship live on the WWE Network on July 4th from Japan. It's going to be Kevin Owens and Finn Balor. Live from Japan, July 4th? What are they? what time are they? Are they doing this at normal evening time in Japan? And this is going to air at a funky time here, Matt? Do you know it all?
Yeah, I'm hearing coverage starts on the WWE Network at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
Ooh. God.
So that's 5:30 a.m. for you, brother.
Well,
it's super interesting what they're doing right now because they are literally shifting. They are shifting all these matches from what they originally scheduled. Because this date was originally scheduled to have Finn Balor face Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And that's the event that Brock Lesnar is scheduled to face Kofi Kingston on. So if Balor isn't wrestling Jericho anymore, what are they doing? Or is this one big setup to that match not even happening and Owens facing Samoa Joe instead? Because they definitely teased Rhino injuring Balor at the end of NXT tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're going to swerve it around and have Samoa Joe get the title shot instead. I don't know what they're planning, but obviously card subject to change is definitely the big highlight of this upcoming event in Tokyo. And I hope it's not just one match on the WWE Network. I hope they show the whole event because I think this is something that could be really freaking cool.
Yeah, and of course with WWE Network, it's going to be on demand immediately. So when you wake up on the 4th of July before you blow shit up, turn on the WWE Network and watch something special because that Japan crowd's going to be hot for Finn Balor. I mean, they're going to lose their shit. Yeah. It's just a shame that Hideo Itami ain't going to be on that card.
You know what, dude? I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised if Hideo.
He'll probably show up.
No, I mean I wouldn't be surprised if Hideo was scheduled to win that triple threat match. And they were going to do Hideo and Owens in Tokyo.
Oh, good point.
You know what? Before the injury happened, I would not be the slightest bit surprised if plans were to do Hideo and Owens for the championship instead of Balor.
Well, hopefully they bring him along and he can cut a promo. That would be great, at least. You know, it would be something. Carmella against Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss wins. Basically it's a setup for I think Enzo and Cass are going to defeat the Sweet Boys once they fight again for the NXT Tag Team titles.
I surely hope so.
With as much as the Sweet Boys and Alexa Bliss are getting over on the group right now, I think the title change is happening the next time they face off.
What is the next big NXT special? I know there's one in October, but I feel like there's supposed to be one before then.
Well, are they counting July 4th as one?
I don't think so, because it's really a WWE branded card. Okay. You know, just with an NXT match on it. So I'm just wondering, are they having are they having an event in August or something like that? Are they doing
yeah, there might be one a couple weeks.
August.
There might be one a couple weeks before SummerSlam. I don't know for sure, but.
When was the last one? It feels so. I know it
was May, middle of May.
Middle of May. So they could probably, late. I would say late July, early August would probably be a good time to put that on.
May 20th was the last one, and that was when we had our Samoa Joe Markout podcast.
Yeah, which was the one? When was the takeover before that?
February.
So
they're going quarterly, basically.
March, April, May. So it's 3 months.
But
May, June, July. So yeah. I could see early August.
But like
getting an event there.
Our Evolution was December 11th, and Rival was February 11th. Though that was
only 2 months. So yeah, there you go. I could definitely see them doing something.
But it was 3 months between the last two.
Okay, well, I could definitely see them doing something in the summer. I think between now and October would be way too long to not have takeovers. So I think that would be bad for them or for the fans. I want more takeovers.
Yeah, no shit. Those are so good. we've been doing this podcast since January, and I think this is the first time we've talked about the VOD villains. They are finally back. Where the hell were they?
I don't know. I don't care.
You don't like the VOD villains? Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Dude, beyond their entrance, what do they have?
Simon Gotch is good.
I don't think they're that good in the ring. And I don't think it's an act that could get over on the main roster. I don't think it's an act that's built for the main roster. I really don't. I'm not a big fan of the vaudevillains. I'm sorry.
Man.
You can give me grief all you want, but I think beyond their entrance, they really don't have anything. And I don't think their entrance is something that could work on the main roster. I don't think people are going to get it. I don't think people are going to understand it. I don't know. I don't really care about the vaudevillains. I'm sorry.
You suck, sir. We find out who Jason Jordan's tag team partner is. It's Marcus the Wee.
Yeah, talk about another person I don't care about.
That was interesting. But the Vaudevillains win that match by pinfall. Main event time, Finn Balor and Rhino. Typical predictable booking there with Rhino the bigger Rhino working over Balor for the most part of the match. And then eventually Rhino goes for the gore, but Balor rolls him up for the win. But post-match, Rhino gores him onto the stage out of nowhere. Matt, what did you think about the main event between Finn Balor and Rhino?
Oh, it was a great match. And I definitely didn't expect the gore at the end. And like I said, like the commentators talked about it like it was it was a nail in Balor's coffin, and if he'd even make it to Tokyo. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe they want him to. Maybe they have a plan already. I'm not sure. I honestly thought the ending of NXT was rather confusing. Because you didn't really need to. Rhino already looked strong by only losing to a roll up. He didn't take the finish. And this is the guy that you're probably going to be putting the NXT Championship on in a few weeks. Did you really need to make Rhino look strong at the end of the show? I don't know. I've got a lot of questions about the way NXT ended tonight. I was quite curious about the whole thing.
Yeah, I fully expect now at this point that Balor wins the title in Japan. It makes perfect sense from every standpoint, basically. Balor made his mark in Japan at New Japan Wrestling. Owens is on the main roster now. This just seems like a perfect spot for Balor to win the title, don't you think?
I would certainly think so. I thought the best thing they could have done was book a triple threat match with Balor, Joe, and Owens, so Owens didn't have to be pinned to lose the title, and they could have the other two guys cancel each other out. But as of now, it looks like they're going in a one-on-one direction. But it's a whole month away, and I know there's a lot of Joe and Kevin Owens activity over the next few weeks of NXT television. So we'll see where all this goes, I guess.
Definitely going to be an exciting time for the top part of the card at NXT. Let's shift gears to Ring of Honor, and once again, I'll give you a background on myself. I am completely new to Ring of Honor. The first event I watched was a pay-per-view a few months back, which was phenomenal. And now recently discovered that we do get, I get Ring of Honor on our CW networks through Sinclair, which is awesome. And then, so I actually get to see it before it even airs on Destination America on Wednesday, so that's pretty cool. This week's show was pretty entertaining, I thought. We got a as I'm still trying to kind of work my way between feuds and who's who and all that.
It was kind of, honestly, I thought it was kind of a rough week for a Destination America debut, because they're still interlocked in the whole World of the Worlds tapings. So there's a bunch of New Japan talent on the shows right now that the normal Ring of Honor fan even might not be, they might not know who they are.
How often do they have? I mean, New Japan is almost constantly competing in Ring of Honor, though, right?
Not Bullet Club, yes. The other guys, not so much.
Okay, that's why that was. I know Bullet Club is competing in there, so that was why I asked the question.
Yeah, more like AJ and the Young Bucks. You'll see in there consistently. Did you notice the guy who wrestled the opening match on ROH was the camera guy from the Dean Ambrose angle on Raw the other week?
Oh, no shit.
Yep, totally was.
First off, we got a promo from the Briscoes talking trash to the House of Truth as they lead up to Best in the World, which, oh man, that's going to be a fun match between Briscoe and Jay Lethal. Tonight's main event is going to be the Briscoe brothers against the House of Truth. First match of the night, Kashido from New Japan Wrestling, who looks like Marty McFly, apparently. Coming to the ring, he's wearing the old Marty McFly vest. He took on Will Ferreira, and apparently Will Ferreira, the cameraman, that got punched out by Dean Ambrose. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
And so, apparently, Kushida does have a Marty McFly gimmick. I'm not familiar with New Japan Wrestling.
He's a member of the Time Splitters. He's in a tag team with, with Alex Shelley.
Alex, okay, I've heard of the Time Splitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, his finishing move is the hoverboard lock. So, which is kind of like a Kimura kind of type of deal. So he goes over on Will Ferreira there. Kushida's he's a pretty cool cat there. I enjoyed his work in the ring in that match.
Honestly, it was a great wrestling opener.
Mm-hmm.
It probably featured two people. A lot of people just didn't know who they were. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Like me.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of Will Ferreira.
But you knew him from Raw.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I wonder how many people actually noticed that.
What role has he played in Ring of Honor?
Nothing much. He's not like a big name talent or whatever. He's probably more low card. But I mean, it's cool when WWE uses ROH guys as extras, and they do that a lot.
There's a bond between those two companies right now, which is
I think there's a lot more there than people are willing to admit or even know.
That makes me a happy man. Daniels and Kazarian come out to the announce booth after the first match and say that
the World Tag Team Champions of the world.
The World Tag Team Champions
of the world. Yes.
Addiction and Red Dragon next week. There's something to look forward to, don't you think?
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I'm honest, I'm not the biggest Red Dragon fan in the world because I don't like Bobby Fish. But Kyle O'Reilly's amazing in a rematch for the tag titles next week. That's going to be a great match for Destination America. I think they're really going to go big time on that.
And, of course, Kyle O'Reilly definitely stepped up his game in the 30-minute Broadway against Jay Lethal the week before. We get Silas Young. This guy reminds me of a combination of Jake Roberts and Magnum TA.
A lot of people at the Ring of Honor tapings that I go to in Baltimore have signs that depict him as former Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Bill Cowher. So,
there was a sign in the crowd. I didn't get it. I didn't get the joke, but it said something. It was him with Monica from Friends. I don't quite get it, but there's a lot of Silas Young signs in the crowd, though.
Yeah. As I said, a lot of them in Baltimore have to do with Bill Cowher, and that might just be the area. But he does look like a roided up Bill Cowher. So
I might have to look up what the joke is with him and Courtney Cox.
Yeah, that I'm not sure what that is.
Well, the guy was front and center in the front row when they were. It was Silas Young and Watanabe. I had to think of the pronunciation in my head.
I'm glad you were able to pronounce it. I probably would have gotten it wrong.
It kind of looks like a wannabe. Watanabe from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And what is Silas Young's role in Ring of Honor right now, Matt?
Well, he's been out injured for a while, a good part of this year. He was really last seen in a program with Kevin Owens on as when he was Kevin Steen when he was on his way out of the company. He was in a program with him, and then he got hurt, and then he's been off TV for a while. So this is really his almost his comeback to the company in the last couple of weeks. So he's kind of refining his place in the Ring of Honor hierarchy. He's definitely not a jobber. I definitely put him more in the mid-carder to upper mid-carder range of where he was before he got hurt. So we'll see where they take him now that he's back.
I kind of enjoyed the heel persona of him.
Yeah, the last real man.
Yep, the last real man in wrestling. And his finisher is pretty damn cool too. He takes an airplane spin and ends it up into a TKO. And that's how he defeated Watanabe. I had to think about it again. Jesus Christ.
How dare you, sir.
We were supposed to get a matchup between B.J. Whitner from the Decade and Moose, but in the end, it turns out that
B.J. Whitmer's a pussy.
B.J. Whitner's a pussy, but he's such a nice guy that he's going to give 18-year-old, 150-pound Colby Carino a match against Moose to prove his worth. What?
Dude, I hate the Decade. I've hated the Decade since they debuted.
I remember,
and I'm so happy Roderick Strong got out of that group because I love Roderick Strong. But dude, I don't like the Decade. I still don't like the Decade. And honestly, if we ever get to see Moose crush every member of the Decade into oblivion, I would be a happier man for it.
So, what's Colby Carino's involvement with the Decade?
This just recently happened on I think it was in the Baltimore tapings that I was at, that they decided because the guy, I think his name's Adam Page, that's with Whitmer right now, was originally their towel boy and the bucket boy that would follow them around and stuff, and he graduated, and now he's like a full-fledged part of after Roderick departed, basically. And now they went and got a new guy, and they're doing it to get under Carino's skin, who's Steve Carino, former ECW champion, and color commentator there now.
So is that his actual son?
Yes, that is his actual son. That is legitimate.
That's cool.
So
no surprise that he would be in the business.
Yeah, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree on that one.
Predictably, Moose beats the living shit out of. First Colby gets a little.
Dude. Colby asked for it.
Yeah,
slapped Moose.
Colby got a little cocky by slapping Moose upside the head a few times, and then that basically just ended that, and Moose just beat the shit out of him. Finally, they throw. Page throws Carino back into the ring after a lengthy beatdown. Instead of getting counted out, he gets stepped on by Moose for the 1-2-3. Now, we talked about this when we broke down the pay-per-view. Is Moose still a bad guy because of his relationship with Veda Scott or Veda Blue? Is it Veda Scott or Veda Blue?
Veda Scott.
Veda Scott.
I would say he's tweener, teetering on a heel.
She's definitely has heel.
She's definitely a heel.
And who's the other guy with him?
I don't know a whole lot about him. He's been around the company for a while, but he's never been featured. He's never been featured prominently when I've been watching the product to really know who he is and what his story is.
In that match, he seemed to be like the guy to say, "Come on, Moose, quit this." Where Veda was was egging it on and even slapping Carino in the face, and so obviously Moose can be a good guy, and the crowd's behind him on his entrance. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, so. I think eventually he'll break away from Veda Scott and go full blown face, but I think right now he's more teetering on the heel side due to his alignment with Veda Scott.
It was a bummer though, because one of my favorite moves of Moose in the short time that I've gotten to see him is his spear is so sweet. He does a front flip after he nails the spear, but didn't get to see that because this is just basically a beat the shit out of a guy that weighs about 150 soaking wet.
Pretty much.
ACH and Adam Page, as we talk about Adam Page from the Decade, they are in a feud currently. And Jay Lethal decides, it must be Pussy Night on Ring of Honor because Jay Lethal pussies out of his match in the tag team match with the Briscoes and House of Truth. There's a lot of Jays in this company because there's Jay Lethal, there's Jay Diesel, there's another Jay. There's another Jay in there somewhere too. I can't remember who.
Jay Briscoe.
Hello, Jay Briscoe, Jay and Mark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm brand new to Ring of Honor, so you get to see me grow into the Ring of Honor product as we do our Lost in the Midcard podcast. So it is Diesel and D-Jack. What's his first name? Or Dijak?
Oh, I don't even remember.
I don't know. I'm not too familiar. Like I said, I'm not familiar, but so those guys fought the Briscoes with obviously Truth Martini at ringside. Pretty good tag match, I thought.
Yeah, it was a good main event.
Obviously, the Briscoes are so goddamn talented. It's it's gonna be kind of hard for a match to suck when they're in it. And I tell you what, I'm so new to the product, but I am completely stoked for the champion versus champion match at Best in the World.
Yeah, it should be honestly, it should be really good.
So yeah, in the end, Lethal hits the J Driller to close the show off, and obviously with the numbers game there as they attack the Briscoes, comes to a close. So pretty decent Ring of Honor, but you said you kind of wish that it was a little better for their Destination America debut.
I wish the timing would have been better on the tapings.
But this was already in the can, right?
It was.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a bad week to debut because I just don't I don't think they were star heavy as they could have been.
Which show is the first one post announcement? Do you know?
What do you mean?
Wait, which Ring of Honor show will be the one that's been taped after the announcement that they're on Destination America?
They haven't taped one yet.
They haven't yet? Okay,
no,
these
were all taped prior to that announcement.
Okay. So, I'm sure we'll probably get a good dose of the Addiction, former TNA wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff is going to be coming, man.
Can't wait. Do you know what else? I think I'd assume ACH and Adam Page are on Best in the World. Is there anything else that's been announced for Best in the World?
Put me on the spot, man. I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
Well, of course, obviously, as we draw closer, and obviously with the Destination America deal, I'm sure they're going to ramp some things up by the time we get to that. And that's in July sometime, right?
No, Death Before Dishonor is in July, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I believe this one's on June 19th. I believe because it's like a Friday night.
Yeah, because that big tag match with Samoa Joe's the next night.
Yeah.
In New York.
Which will probably, it is Joe's last appearance with Ring of Honor, so should be very interesting.
All right. We have decided to put together an award, kind of our version of the Slammies. What we're going to do it on a calendar year. And so since we're halfway through the year almost, we're going to give you our nominees. We had two names for the awards. We had the Jobbies and the Markies. And even though there was a late push for the Jobbies, the Markies came out on top. So our award for pro wrestling for WWE is the Markies.
Is that what your boy was upset about?
Yeah, he had voted for the Jobbies.
Sorry.
This week we're going to give you our WWE nominees, and next week on Lost in the Midcard we'll give you our NXT nominees, and then we will present you the winners on our Money in the Bank post show, which is, holy cow, it's only a week from Sunday already, huh?
Good Lord.
All right. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 categories. Nice round number for you. 10 categories in the WWE First off, tag team of the half year. Our nominees, as we compiled these here, our nominees are Cesaro and Kid, The New Day, the Usos, and the Lucha Dragons. Matt, any thoughts with those 4 teams there?
I mean, are we voting?
No.
I was going to say, I thought the people were voting.
No.
Should we wait, who's voting?
We are. We're picking them. It's ours.
Okay.
This ain't no WWE.com poll.
Yeah, I don't know. We could have done that.
Nah.
Are we supposed to tip our hat already on who we're voting for? I thought we were just running down the nominees.
We'll just run down the nominees then.
Yeah. We're not giving you our hat tipping techniques so early on. You're just hear the nominees and you'll like it.
It's as much as you like to give spoilers away.
Hey. I didn't give any spoilers away. You keep it up. I'll start spoiling shit for you, boy.
You gave spoilers away on my Twitter last week, though, you asshole.
What'd I do?
I can't remember what it was, but you spoiled something.
Remember, you shirt face? I don't remember. I think you're lying.
You probably deleted the tweet, too.
Such thing.
Diva of the Year nominees are Nikki Bella, AJ Lee, Paige, and Naomi. And this is for the first half year. The half year awards, and then we'll have our 2015 awards at the end of the year here. Breakthrough Wrestler of the half year, Neville, Damian Sandow, Luke Harper, and Kalisto. Villain of the half year, Seth Rollins, The Authority, Bray Wyatt, and Rusev. Pay-per-view of the half year. Well, there's only 2 that won't make the cut here. There are 2 or 3. But our nominees for the for the half year are WrestleMania 31, Payback, Elimination Chamber, and the Royal Rumble, and hopefully we can add Money to the Bank in that. Hopefully we get ourselves a great pay-per-view there. Best feud of the half year, Cena versus Rusev, Triple H versus Sting, New Day versus Kid and Cesaro, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. The what the fuck moment of the half year, Daniel Bryan's Royal Rumble exit, Connor's, quote, born and bred to rip and shred, Roman Reigns' suffering succotash promo, and the Roman Reigns and Lesnar tug of war with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and the WrestleMania Go Home show.
Should we add the Jack and the Beanstalk promo to the suffering succotash promo? Should that just be like a joint collaboration for Mr. Reigns?
Like, call it the Roman Reigns nursery rhymes promo?
Yes.
Best moment of the half year, Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank, Kevin Owens making his main roster debut, Sami Zayn answering the U.S. Open Challenge, and Ronda Rousey and The Rock standoff against Triple H and Stephanie at WrestleMania. Best match of the half year, Royal Rumble triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship between John Cena, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins on the May 4th edition of Raw. Kevin Owens versus John Cena, fresh off of the last pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber. And Roman Reigns against Daniel Bryan at Fastlane. And then our wrestler for the half year, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and John Cena. And the wrestler for the half year, 3 of the 4, all 3 members of the Shield. How about that, Matt?
Are you really surprised?
No, not at all. So we will butt heads, probably punch each other out, fight to the death if we have an argument, and hopefully we'll come to an agreement by after Money in the Bank with our winners of the Marky half-year award.
You make it sound so dramatic.
I know. Gotta give the listeners thoughts that we might be backstage punching each other out like Vince and Dusty, or Vince and Heyman back in the day when he was writing SmackDown, and when Raw was the B show, right?
Oh. Freaking A.
Matt, as we close this week out, you got any final thoughts?
No, just like I said at the top of the show, we survived the first Wednesday Night War. Hopefully there are many and many to come. And I just hope all professional wrestling continues to rise to the occasion, and that the next year, like a year from now, we're sitting here talking about the boom period and professional wrestling is back, and, we're right there in the middle of it. So that's what I'm hoping for right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a great time, especially if Ring of Honor can catch fire nationally and maybe take that step up. And if they continue to pair with the WWE, too, that's always going to be best for business as well. Next week, make sure to come back here to Lost in the Midcard. We'll give you our NXT Half-Year Awards nominees, and we'll give you our predictions and preview for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. For Matt, this is Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.